I will. Thank you very much. And I mean, obviously, I don't know if Cons is necessarily the best player in SAL, but I've seen a lot of good Monty play from Cons. I've seen a lot of good fragging from Cons on the older iteration of NIP. When, to be fair, see, to Gabe's point, to be fair, NIP didn't have to be stopped from getting in the building because they just had a problem getting into the building anyway. Like, the thing they had to get over was like a mental block almost of getting in the building rather than any obstacle thrown in their way. Not as much of a problem anymore, thankfully, Ollie. Means that the rounds are ending at somewhere before 5 seconds left.
Which is good. I'm not always a big fan of the rounds going all the way. I get using the clock. I understand that it's a tool there to be used, but there's the fewer of the sort of time constraints that you can take from old NIP, the better. NIP, a team that really impressed me. You made a brilliant comment about the amount of entry kills that ENX were able to get yesterday. I was curious, because sometimes I can be a curious cat. So I had a look at entry. The two best players inside of SAL right now for entry are both Fancy and Hates, both +7. Now, a survival rate leaves a lot to be desired. However, if you want entries, they're the players you want to be looking out for. And seeing as the NIP has started on the attack, I am expecting great things from both of those two players.
Listen, I'm not. When you pay Fancy, you're not paying him to live. You're paying him to die and take somebody with him.
Oh yeah.
That's what you're paying Fancy to do. That's why he's salaried.
That's why he gets the big bucks.
That's why he's got tenure. I don't know about the big bucks. I know about the big bucks. NIP have not. We are still waiting for them to get back to that. Get back to that glory. It's FaZe and Furious still firmly at the top of the column. But ENX were able to take down an old name in Brazil, Liquid, yesterday, 8-7 on this map. Keeping Liquid down at the bottom. So only with 2 points in these OT losses. Did mention that ENX were quite good on their defensive openings yesterday. Angel might end up giving one to Wizard. Playing very aggressively on this big door. Quite claustrophobic right now. Stuck between that castle barricade. Now, this courtyard position cut off from below. Really like this from NIP. They are reading the weaknesses of this position perfectly. Not saying Fancy will get away with it. Angels remains in a difficult position. As the Ash goes up, watching a long angle, we soften up quite heavily, and Angels can live another day.
Very difficult to attack this sort of a setup on border. You remove the Azami and the Clash and think great, but you leave the castle open. And unless players do what Angel just did and peek around it, it can be very difficult. It should speeden up somewhat the way that NIP are able to take this and further take control over toward 90 and into CCTV. Looks as though Legion's going to have something to say about it, and I'm not sure if he's droned. He's certainly known now as he takes Fancy down and finishes him off.
Really good work from Nigel. Angel's taking all of NIP's attention, taking all of my attention as well. And the Legion slipped by, not unnoticed, but certainly disrespected, not dealt with. He's even popping Vulcan packs. He's got more utility to burn time. That's crazy. Swings out, spots one on the balcony, but he honestly doesn't even need to peek this. Just play your life. Wizard's got to be careful about those head holes. He's got to be careful about those angles. It's the threat of you that's the problem, not the gun you hold. Just the potential for it to get used. Cons might get him, but so much damage has been done just by two players. But Nigel specifically sitting inside a CCTV. Bach with his second, swinging and laying down a heavy line of fire down metal. 3K for Bach overall. ENX taking the first.
Doesn't bode well for NIP, really, the way that that first attacking round went, does it? Kind of petered out of all existence very early. Yeah, they took control of Break Room, but where was the guy for CCTV windows? Like, just apply a bit of pressure. You shouldn't be letting a Legion just hang around there in the rotate spot, able to rotate either to Fountain, main stairs, beepers. Get the window open. Put a bit of pressure. We had some air jobs. Could have placed a few air jobs out there as well. Better job needing to be done of restricting the flow of those defenders in and around that space, because whilst the player that was inside of Break Room was taken out fairly handily, it didn't really mean too much when the site players aren't getting touched until, what, the final 20, 30 seconds of the round? Bit of a strange pacing from NIP.
Or as you pointed out, Nigel not getting touched till the back half of it.
I mean, the CC player surviving until the back half of the round, like, come on.
But the desk wanted to see ENX contesting NIP at the entry, stopping it from entering the building. Well, it can't really get much better than what you got in round 1. Can't reasonably expect it unless you wanted ENX to keep NIP outside of the building for literally the whole round. I think that's just a little extreme at that point. But you're able to do that on Armory and Archives. It is a second floor site. Usually when you have those second floor sites, it's going to be a bit more direct, going to have less vertical in the process. Now they're on the first floor. NIP might have a little more room to move, and by extension, ENX might have to cover a little more ground if they want to stop them from entering the building. Still have Nigel, now actually taking Angels as operator. Same position, but now has the UMP instead of the T5. But comparatively speaking, much less resources dedicated to him than previously. No Vulcan pack to burn time. It's really just an ACOG and a dream at the moment. Got that 90 rotate. I do appreciate this. Backing off pretty quickly to join the rest of the defense in office.
Ooh, nice little pocket reinforcement there as well for the fountain wall.
One more, too.
Kind of gives away, like, yep, you can take CCTV. We've wasted a minute. We feel pretty comfortable with that. Castle Barricade shouldn't last too long, though. We have Ash. We also have Hibana. Plenty of ways and means of getting those things dealt with either at range or up close and personal. Fancy just transitioning there, finding out a goo mine, and maybe going to try and turn his attention elsewhere now that the assist has been given there for that top floor. But don't forget, it still isn't entirely clear. There are a couple of defenders lingering up here. Angel in a real dangerous spot. This is a flank that really should be locked down at this point. He's going to be found out. Just takes a little pot shot at Wizard, but the angle is being held.
Ooh. We'll fire some downrange. Not able to find anything, unfortunate. Hates is found on that flank. So occupied watching east, but it is a one-for-one trade. NIP gaining ground, but ENX are making sure they pay for every single inch. Bach with his second, taking down the ace at that window down below. I was hoping ENX would fight for as much control as they could, keep NIP at bay, but they're fighting like their life depends on it. Tooth and nail for every single position, not retreating until a second passed when they should have. Only now do we see the defenders retreat from the top floor. Only now that they have secured 3 kills, 2 minutes and 20 seconds wasted. Pino softened up slightly, and God knows how much utility all of Wizard's Candelas spent on clearing a roam that ENX have won. We're using X-Kairos to break up holes in the floor. That's how dire the resources are. That's how much ENX have bled from them. Only 15 seconds remaining. The smokes can go out. That's the only sight occlusion. The only way you'll take this vision away. Hibana swings, Bailiff ready. Crouch walking with the revolver. Maybe egoing a little bit, but Wizards got no time. 2, 1, and 0. ENX taking 2 in a row.
If Wizard had a little bit more time, maybe.
I don't want to think about that. I don't want to think about it. Don't want to think about it.
A couple of nice kills there toward the end, but the fact that he didn't have any time was because of how much was wasted on that mid floor. NIP very quickly took control of half of the top floor, but neglected to convert that into a full clear. And with the operators that they lost, weren't able to get the floor open. If anyone would ever need an example as to why Hibana is a terrible option to open up vertical angles, we saw it right there and then. 4 Hibana pellets, and it does absolutely nothing. You get a postage stamp that you can look through. Typically, you want a skeleton key, you want a sledge, even a breaching charge, a ram boogie drone if you're feeling a bit bougie. But no, NIP reduced to the bare minimum. I think the only time it gets worse than that is if you're drawing for a pistol to open up some vert. At that point, just forget it. Just go next.
Just give up. Really strong performances from ENX, though. And NIP really struggling to deal with the problems that they are putting forth. Not that it's a simple process. I mean, you've got, 3 defenders staring at you, but now that NIP have maybe cut their teeth a little bit, I'm almost curious. I want to see you looking towards the site. Maybe see if it's weak down there with how aggressive ENX have been. Maybe you can actually go for a quick execute, flood the site. Maybe the defense isn't ready to fall back. Maybe you catch him off guard. Khan's bringing the blitz. could go for it. We see destroying a lot of doors upstairs, seeing a lot of droning right now. Gonna see another full clear from NIP?
I mean, have they done a single full clear properly?
True.
Like, maybe if they actually do a full clear.
Well, the ironic thing.
What's the ironic thing?
NIP are 2-0 in opening kills so far.
This doesn't seem to be hurting ENX, does it?
No, it does not.
And don't forget, this is border, by the way. Like, we've had a Deimos and a Blackbeard banned. That has very little impact on a border game, realistically. Both of them are super new. Obviously, Blackbeard's been around forever, but the change is fairly new in Siege terms. And Deimos, in Siege terms, is a relatively new operator. So it's not as if the attack has been hamstrung with some incredible ban. They really ought to be able to deal with this a little bit better than they are. Air jabs going out this time, which at least should give them a little bit of surety. ENX have shown that they're more than happy to rotate and spread their legs on this top floor and get themselves into sticky positions, and hopefully the air jabs will make them think twice. Now waiting on this bottom floor just for a bit of drone information, maybe trying to target some of these mirror windows as well, as they're doing a great job of stopping the flow of these players upstairs. But a couple of quick explosions and boom, Blitz is in there. That was a nice ash charge.
That was a nice ash charge, and this is what I wanted to see. This is what I was curious about. Maybe it won't work, but NIP are at least understanding that with how aggressive this roam is, maybe they can find a way onto the site. How many vertical angles are there? Are the hatches open? Are they closed? They're long angles holding your position. Is it defenders close with a shotgun? They are paying attention to it, but we've spent basically 2 minutes droning, and finally NIP have decided on a course of action. But with how much time they've invested in seeing if this plan will work, I need to see something, even if it's a kill. There we go. Hates is... Or NIP as a whole 3-0. Hates with that nice opening pick, but that's not been enough so far. We need to see this diffuser go down. Need to see Fancy hold the line, but Florio gets the angle. They've not considered that position that the castle's been holding the entire time. And now the case drops cold. Somebody's got to move in and recover with 20 seconds left. Hates finding important kills. They still have this advantage. It's only Florio, the man who denied that defuse. Surely NIP have the numbers. Surely they can close this out, and indeed they will. 3-0 in opening picks, but NIP take 3 rounds before they get there first on a quick sight hit in the late game.
I enjoy that. Quick sight hit in the late game. It was exactly that, wasn't it? It was the later part of the round, and it was still a kind of quick sight hit. It was kind of nice. I really like the ash charge. I like the blitz moving through off the back of those breaching rounds that were going off and really starting to take control. NIP, they'd not really done the homework. They didn't know that someone was in there with such an easy angle to try and deny that plant with. But let's be honest, if they get all the kills, it doesn't matter anyway. You are a little bit worried, though, when you see the diffuser dropping cold and there's still, what, 8 bodies alive, and you start thinking, or 9 bodies alive at that point, and you start thinking, well, they've still got vert on this. Like, if they can just play smart and play the site, open a bit more vert, they might be able to just keep hold of it. NIP managing to get the kills there, and I don't know if ENX just got a little bit jittery in some of the spots they were holding, because, to be honest, they looked in quite good shape. NIP with a round on the board, it avoids them having to take that tactical timeout to solve the problems that they've been facing here, and they can finally start to build on something. Bans at the start of round 4, we're going to get a Ying and a Mirror. Mirror has been a real key component, but not as crucial as this castle. The castle has been consistently brought. Nigel, someone that has played the castle in a couple of rounds already, I am kind of surprised. I know that it's easily dealt with and Fancy's going to be playing the Ash. I'm kind of surprised to see that castle let through again at this stage and for the Mirror to be removed.
I mean, yeah, both problem operators, but yeah, to your point, the castle has been quite impactful. Also, to answer your question, I went back and checked. There was a lot of antsiness from ENX. Basically, Fancy was actually the only guy on the bottom floor. It was 3 people all holding flank up top. Saxy Cake tried to walk down metal. 2 players in Fountain both end up peeking and dying. So, supreme levels of jitteriness, sadly. But, first one he dropped. You just got to be careful. NIP have called your bluff. They have ignored the roam, and it has worked. They're going to feel emboldened to do it again. Got to consider that as a possibility. Might be harder on Armory, to be fair, but it's still something you got to be leery about. Angels creeping around this bottom floor for the moment. Seeing if NIP wants to secure that bottom floor control as early as they did before. Field inside of 90. That'll be quick fodder for that ash charge. Down it goes. Already the pocket reinforcement. Nigel might be giving up this position very early on. He was here for almost the entirety of the last armory round. Instead, it'll be 90 where he makes his home.
Not much change to the pace in which NIP are moving with right now, but they've managed to gain a lot more control. CCTV is now in their hands, and they just need to move through and take that. And under the cover of cons on the shield, they're going to do just exactly that. A pop shot attempted by Sexy Cake. He's only going to put a couple of points of damage into Wizard. Wizard will be very ill-advised to peek that again. With the Monty pushing through, CC is now theirs. Nigel in a real tough spot right now. Gets a good visual, but can't make good on it. Very cagey swings right now from everybody, as everyone knows where the other is.
This is how each one of these rounds have been, though. Even though the positions are different, got a shield introduced, Nigel's in 90. It's still the attackers and the defenders breathing down each other's necks. Almost staring at each other through these walls and these reinforcements. And yet it somehow remains a 5v5. Fancy will eventually find that castle, but the trade's still quite good. 4-0 on opening picks for NIP. ENX will neutralize that advantage.
Good
Box spotted through the wall. Very good swing. Now, as that Monty creeps further and further into sight, Sexy Cake down to C4! How's he landed that one? Seemed a bit surprised he even got that kill, but NIP, firm control of the site. This sentry's been off down on a side quest on the bottom floor for ages at this point, and NIP have found it out all the way at the beginning. Nice little pre-fire to find the first, but diffuser down. Wizard can cover, get that trade all tied up.
Pretty clean from NIP. I was screaming in my head for someone to support Cons on the Monty. He had such a great position on that armory wall. He had great info as to where everybody was, and it just took a little bit of time, and sometimes it does, to get somebody into position to be able to support. But when the support came, it was there. Immediately picking up the kill. Sexy Cake had to fill the gap. He did actually hit a super nice headshot, but it was not enough. Relying on that striker downstairs or the sentry downstairs, excuse me, to try and deny that plant. Obviously, the C4 ripped and used a little bit earlier on into the round. NIP, it's been a slow start into this game for them, but I feel like they're finally getting up to speed. Taking a little bit more time in these gunfights, being a little bit more considered in how and where they are taking this map control, not just trying to go at things one-dimensionally. That previous attack was a great example of that, the way that they were really cohesive in the way they took CCTV room. It was much better. They may be able to salvage this half yet, and they're certainly in a good position to do so. 2-2 now, and ENX left to find a response. Not been successful in the previous 2 rounds, and it just feels like their mojo's been knocked a little bit. They came in super confident, really happy, and very convinced in the ideas and stuff that they were trying. And in the last 2 rounds, that's really waned, and you do kind of wonder, was it just a 2-round show that they put on, and are they just going to sort of peter out into sort of non-existence?
I was about to say, right now they're just trying to beat the one-trick pony allegations. It's like, okay, you did this really aggressive roam and extension for a couple rounds, and NIP were clearly caught off guard by it. Like, genuinely, like, good job, like, good strat. But then they were like, oh, the site might be weak, and it was. And then they were like, okay, well, they've adjusted and given us control of CCTV. The site will probably be weak again, right? They're probably pretty heavily holding an office, and that was correct. Breaching. And so now, as we look, and we're defending bathroom tellers, what do we have? Nigel and CC. 1 guy in armory. 2 guys in office. Another really heavy roam. So, as NIP are droning, and they see that workshop is pretty clear, except for maybe Florio, you've got people creeping in, ready to pounce, and I think it's not a coincidence that NIP are really focused on this middle floor. Fancy gives it away just a little bit. ENX's first opening with NIP having a good read strategically, that might just even things up.
There's going to be an attempt here at trying to get this kill onto Florio. Near the Dokubi call go out, and Hates will eventually put an end to him. But a lot of damage has been done, and maybe the game's up. Florio calls, well, there's a lot of people downstairs. They're just going to go direct here. We need to be ready for it, so you better hope that ENX have those vertical angles available. Great shot there from Wizard. Another example of just catching someone way too antsy. There's no need to move there.
Oh my god, so free.
The plank can start to go down. Held from the window. This is going to be really difficult to retake. Whether you've got vertical control or not, doesn't really matter at this point.
Angels was right there. How has this occurred? Wait, Angel was in courtyard? If he better have just got there. Because the plant didn't go down on the default window. They ran into the cubby. Maybe they hopped in, but... the fact that it's somehow gone down when they put that diffuser in a very tight corner, that smoke could have been a big problem for Cons, and it just wasn't. But Ollie, as NIP take 3 in a row, didn't that plant feel so free?
Oh, they are finding some huge gaps.
Yeah, minimal resistance, barely any utility, barely even a lick of damage done him as that diffuser was going down. ENX had a great game plan the first 2 rounds, but the moment NIP ran into it in round 3, these attacks have looked better and better as ENX have continuously failed to 1, bolster the site, 2, leave gaps, and 3, continue placing 4 people on a roam, and NIP have realized if we just ignore it, ENX don't have the resources or the capabilities or what have you to stop us.
At this point, it feels like all you need to be doing well on NIP at the minute is a reasonable memory and be able to remember what's happened this game so far. Because ENX are just trying to do the exact same things every single round, and NIP are just going, oh, we've seen this one before.
Except, not the exact same thing. They'll go, okay, we see you saw that armory defense. Nigel, he's 90 now.
Oh,
not CC door.
No, I apologize. It's, I mean, that's a revelation. I don't think that that would catch me off guard.
Honestly,
sure.
game changer.
So it's a serious adaptation. I like this though. NIP, they've had success hitting the site quick before. They're going to try and move fairly quickly again.
Oh my god!
Open these castle barricades.
Wait, it's the same lineup as round 1.
Yeah.
There's just no Mira. They're literally doing the same thing.
I mean, it's pretty poor, especially given Mira's banned, because it means that they've just not got a plan as to how to make this work without the Mira. They just need to try and do the same thing again. But we've got Nigel playing in the same spot inside of CCTV. Same spot for the castle inside a break room. NIP, they can't be fooled by this twice. Wait for that Toxic Babe to dissipate, and boom. Cons is going to get himself in there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. On this strat, obviously, you got to worry about all your positions. But Angels can easily be pinched from courtyard down below. You've got the Monty probing for information. And ENX every single time, no matter the site, have heavily placed their resources and their manpower in office. I'm really worried Armory might be weak here given the trend that we've seen before. But of course, the strength of this strat still continues to be you're holding CCTV. Nice shot from Nigel. And he was the saving grace here. And ultimately, you can run the same strat back, but if he's winning those fights, it might not matter all that much. It's NIP pushing office. Ollie, is this site as weak as it looks? Fancy finds one in Fountain. This is a pre-fire waiting to happen, but Sexy K catches him lacking. Fancy disrespecting the position a little bit. Now NIP have to regroup.
That's pretty poor from Fancy, to be fair. And again, poor that no one has gone onto CC balcony and dealt with Nigel. At least open the window and make it so he can't play there. EMP goes out, wall will be opened. Cons has the diffuser here. But surely this is holdable. ENX. They haven't got too much to go on right now. They've got a couple of goo mines. That's about it. Players in tucked positions. Florio going to go for an aggressive swing. But look at that from the Monty of Cons. You talk about disrespect. That's some serious disrespect.
I thought he was dead. I was freaking out when I saw that. Pino finds another. It's all Bach in the 1v3. Knows the vent window players there. Nice pre-fire. Nice pre-aim. Just a 1v1 with this gun up, but the Monty's distracting, and he falls to Pino. I gotta say, I'll give it to ENX. Might be the same strat, but we're starting to see some of that same success, but when it's all the same positions, NIP know where to pre-aim. They know how to think around it. And as they found that little bit of a gap in office, they just widened it and widened it as the round went on.
I'm going to give that one to NIP. Just because that's what the game did, you know?
Very brave. Very brave of you, Ollie.
I think it was good of NIP. That, you know what it is? I really hate using this word. It just feels a little bit lazy. it's like they're trying to do the bare minimum to get the plant down or to get the round over the line. Whereas you would see a team that's a bit more, that's maybe got a higher work rate,
well,
deal with
honestly,
a few more problems instead of sort of relying on people winning gunfights.
It's kind of contrasted by ENX, who were doing the absolute most to try and stop them from entering.
Oh, they're tryhards. Yeah, they are sweating right now. And that's also, like, it's both ends of the scale, isn't it? You've got to find that happy medium, and you've got to know when to turn the dial up a little bit and just tone it back a little bit. I mean, I myself, I have the dial at 11 all the time, you know?
Shut up. Well, if it goes up to 11, why don't you just make 10 louder? This one goes to 11. Re-releasing that movie in theaters. I've never seen it before, though I have it on DVD, so I could just watch it whenever I wanted, but haven't.
Sometimes it's better to go and rewatch a movie in the theaters, though. I like it.
It is. I'm a big movie theater person. Like, I got, not to brag, I got A-list. I got my 3 free movies a week. I'm going.
You get 3 free a week?
Yeah, it's actually kind of you pay like $20, $30 a month, and you get 3 free movies a week. It pays for itself like immediately.
That's mental.
I know, but I also love movies, so like I'm going to see everything. But anyway, what I wanted to say, for Ollie distracted me with a cinema reference, which he knows I couldn't pass up. Very, very cruel of him. It really does feel like a story that half. ENX had a good plan. NIP figured out a hole in it. There are holes in every plan, and ENX went, alas. Now we move to the second half. Early smoke ban from ENX. Saw one in the phase game, but that came out as the 3rd one on their attacking side. ENX have taken it down first, and the understandable Azami ban, which basically makes CCTV very, very difficult to take, and depending on who's playing that Azami, able to hold it solo. And while you see a lot of the same positions, I mean, shocker, we got one break, got one over by CC door. It's a lot looser. No castles on board. Well, there is a castle, but he's not. But nobody necessarily like completely boxed in. As we look, he actually is just boxed in. It is okay. It's just the same strat. Never mind. Just literally the same thing.
Well, it's kind of different, isn't it? I don't think they put the castle on long.
No. And hey, I like the addition of the Fenrir, though it seems like he might be going down. Oh, Nigel has.
Oh dear.
I don't know how that's occurred.
It's trade.
We'll take it.
Nigel traded him his teammate.
Okay, there we go. You know what I will say? With how easy ENX made that, clearing the same strat, it does seem kind of funny that it was harder for NIP to clear that both times.
Oh, NIP made a meal of it. Like they were like, oh no, this is the strat. We got to make this look like, you know, we're working really hard to get through it.
Yeah.
And ENX have just gone, well, yeah, if it's a strat we're going to play, it's a strat we're going to know how to play versus it. And I mean, Tetsuke on the shield, shock. It's always going to be there. NIP are likely going to ban 3 shields. They've already banned 2. They can move quite quickly now. With Angel's getting a kill onto Cons. 50 seconds is an eternity in a border game.
Especially when you got one guy trapped in a corner. Like, this guy... What? Okay, he's killed the Blitz. He's blind. What? It's a 1v1. Shut up. Pino's got a C4. Nosy's in CC. Oh my god, what is going to happen here? We got 2 drones in play. I am really curious where they are. Got very recent info coming off as you know he's going to move that side. Pino pre-aiming it. How much does he wait? Shots go out. Nosy's left side around the small office. That has isolated Pino quite heavily. Bach instead pushing. He could land this pre-fire if he checks. Be careful not to sprint as Pino wraps around. Beepers will trigger. Very well played by Bach. Isolating him based off that spray. Counter swinging at the right time. I'm not entirely sure where all those NIP players dropped. But that came quite close. And you got to hand it to Bach for finishing it.
A little bit too close to comfort. I think that Bach played that 1 versus 1 incredibly well. 0 hesitation for a start. Yeah, he spotted on the BP, but so what? He has to take the engagement. Uses his utility very well. The stun from Zephyr's launcher. Boom, that goes out there. Immediately triggers, tells him exactly where Pino is. He knows that Pino is very close to that break room door. Where else are you going to go to hide? You don't want to turn your back and start running down to half wall, or you're going to go into break room door. So, goes into break room door, There's no ring around the rosy. There's no baiting whatsoever. It's just boom, I'm better, and I'm taking this engagement. I was looking down. I was pretty surprised to see Pino have the SMG-11 in his hand at that point. I thought, shotgun at close range, bang, you believe in it. You just got to let that thing fly as soon as you see him and hope that you react quick enough. But no, Pino had the SMG-11. Now, to be fair, he didn't really get a shot off because he was trying to ring around the rosy himself. He was trying to boom, go out of the door, and he didn't get given that space to do it. Close round, and one that really shouldn't have been that close because ENX did such a great job of dealing with the NIP hold. There was no hesitation again in just saying, yep, okay, castle strat, boom, we know how to work this. Get Sexy Cake in there on the shield, start taking some ground early, get a couple of opening picks, Fancy goes down super early. It's fairly straightforward from ENX.
And most of the kills they got in that mid round onto Hates and Cons were just watching flank. Sexy Cake over, I went back and checked. Sexy Cake over on East, catches Hates rotating on the CCTV cross 90, just kills him. Cons tries to go support the CCTV player, rotates front of metal, gets killed by flank watch there. Pretty simple. Apply the pressure, make a move, watch where they move, take them down. Very strong game plan for ENX to start, which again, they took Liquid the full distance, all 15 rounds yesterday, and did take the W. Are quite well practiced on this since their game against them yesterday. A minute into the round so far. Bathroom Teller's defense. Always like to see the attack pay some attention to the courtyard and the passport customs position as well. See some reaction for the defense, but until Hates had left, it was 4 players on the top floor, but you can see he's a little exposed as he's moving down here, but will find a way to thread the needle back into the site and not avail himself to any angle being watched by ENX.
Slow approach here from ENX. Got a lot of info to work with. Know exactly where Fancy is. First down going to come in there onto Angels, but beaten to it. As Pino takes down Bok. Much better from NIP right now. Sexy Cake still charging through that top floor with his pistol out, and with Wizard down, leaves things all equal. Not a lot of map control has been gained here though. Fortunately for ENX, they still have a good portion of that utility. Most importantly, the Blitz and the Ying for those Candelas. And with the top floor now clear and Sexy Cake finishing Wizard off, might be able to whittle down these side players some.
You'd hope so. Another round where Sexy Cake on Blitz watching flank on East and gets a kill there. I'd like to see it from him. The weight of the round might come down onto these Candelas. You'd opting to bring the bulletproof. Didn't even place it. I have to wonder, that may have been an accident. He's not having the C4. It's really going to hurt you right now, especially as Sexy Cake drops. Florio watching the vertical. Sexy Cake not finding anything just yet. Unfortunately, a self-blind because of that Candela. Pino does take him down. That's a rough one to lose. Almost wish maybe you just started putting that diffuse down. But Khan's retaking the top floor. Finds a nice little engagement for himself. Now Pino and Hates have got Florio in a bit of a crossfire. He walks out. He is a dead man. He'll find one, but the time's too low. Khans has the vert. ENX will not tie the game, and I keep themselves a 2-round lead.
NIP keeping control there. Again, it was a kind of a weird clear, wasn't it? Because top floor was attempted to be cleared. Passport was also a really big focus from ENX in that round. And it just kind of resulted in not too much happening. They didn't get too much control overall. Had they gone for a full top floor clear and sent one guy into Passport, or maybe even 2, you never know. But got the top floor clear done first. And you maybe think that that's where they missed out a little bit of an opportunity there in that round. NIP starting to feel a little bit more relaxed in this series. I think the first couple of rounds, certainly, it felt like they were playing a lot more tense than they are now. ENX have always felt like a bag of nerves, so there's no different vibe that they're giving me at the moment. I'm kind of feeling the same. But from at least from the NIP side of things, it starts to feel like they're a little bit more comfortable inside of this fixture. And they should be. They're only 2 rounds away from tying up this game and putting it to bed for the week. They will have to keep control of this top floor site. And let's be honest, this is somewhere where ENX looked very good when they previously attacked it in round number 7.
I mean, Nigel literally shot his teammate in the back of the head and still won the round. Pretty weird to start, but as you said, after that, It was looking pretty good. They used that blitz to very, very rapidly clear office. But also, I mean, Ollie, last time we went to Armory Archives and ENX defenses, it was the exact same strat, and what do you know? NIP drop it, and then immediately rotate to something else. Try to change it up entirely. No castle, not anywhere in the general vicinity. Probably will see a light CCTV hold, but given the lack of a castle and the lack of an Azami, you will likely have to fall back in all likelihood. Also, gone are the days of the deployable shield on the circle desk. Don't really see that often anymore, so... I think we'll just see whoever's holding it rotate out of 90 pretty quickly. Fancy's been getting in some pretty aggro positions, though, and I will say, NIP have done a good job, or excuse me, ENX have done a good job at cutting him off, catching him when he's rotating back last time, but... Just they're setting up for another CC clear.
I like the Warden pickup from Fancy, recognizing the blitz has been played every time, and if he comes head-to-head with that, he might want a little bit of an advantage. Sexy Cake is just going to boldly smoke out. With these players still inside of CC, it isn't going to be a given that they're going to get that ground and take it easily. And pot shots through the wall and an opening pick onto Hates. But all in all, you've got an opening pick, you've wasted 2 smokes. It hasn't really given him the control of CCTV because they had no one there for the cutoff.
Which is kind of strange. They were able to get 2 kills on cutoff positions last time. 1 from East Stairs, though ironically it was Sexy Cake, and you don't really want the blitz holding the cutoff. Wizard's just retaking the position. They're just back in CC. Fancy will get shut down, so I like that from Angel. It is a good find, but you've let them get really aggressive really quickly, but you made them regret it. And that's what I'll give you an X for credit. At the end of the day, it was looking a little dicey. They had control on the position. Now in the 5v2, Pino again trying to cross, shut down. Basically a flawless round for ENX. Looked a bit odd as they completely left CCTV in the mid-game, but still had their sights trained on it. NIP take the bait, and ended up losing it.
It was like they'd just thrown a lobster pot out. They've caught a lobster, they take the lobster out and they throw the pot back in, and another lobster just goes straight in. And in this story, CCTV is the lobster pot.
I'm sorry. The way you say lobsters really.
Well, at least NIP can breathe a sigh of relief because this is going to be the last round of Blitz. So, Sexy Cake, you're going to have to find something else to play, and of course he's going to go for the only remaining shield in the Fuse. It is by far and away the least scary. Fuse is one of the heavier and louder operators in the game, and you're not necessarily bringing it for the kit as Sexy Cake right now, because he is just going for any shield he can. And why not? He's pretty good at it. And it's doing a pretty good job of corralling the NIP defenders at the moment. Now, the Clash also got banned. Kind of a surprise to not see the Clash leveraged a little bit before that, because obviously Clash is a good counter to other shields in that you can slow from a distance, and you have a shield on defense. Never a bad thing. You can place the Clash shield down now as well and peek from behind it with that very powerful secondary. So, kind of a weird one from ENX. I don't know if they were expecting NIP to play a lot of Clash in the second half of this second half, but we will see. It at least leaves other options open, namely the castle, which again won't be played, but will likely be played on a different site. We are looking toward Workshop, so it is going to be a top floor hold with an element of staying up there for as long as you can, make a good bit of vert, and then have an option to rotate up there later on if you so need to.
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
Could also just be, I mean, we've seen teams sometimes purposefully not play operators the first 3 rounds. Then when the final ban goes through, then they break out something and they use it like they abuse it for the rest of the half. Flash could be one of those operators if she can get targeted early on, so when you don't see her as that second ban, you might think, oh, maybe I can get away with it. ENX is like, nope. If you have any plans, we don't want to do it.
I just feel like you get into a real, like, double bluff, triple bluff zone there. Because
yeah,
are they really going to forget that you're going to play the Clash? Like,
I don't know.
I get what you mean, but I just don't.
Think about.
Yeah, it is fun to think about. It is very much a theory exercise.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, I saw drone hip fire. Tates finds himself on East. You did mention that Sexy Cake's done a good job at clearing the shield so far, and I would definitely agree. Though both of the times we've seen a good clear was on armory rounds. Tates has been isolated. If they can find a way to walk up either 90 or break, get a nade on this guy's position, I mean, Angels is right there. Could send some secondary utility over the top. Force him to rotate either top or bottom. Ooh, unlucky that Grzmot's fallen there. He's keeping one in pocket to try to stop that shield from going in. Good reaction by Angel as one player from NIP falls. Yet Hates remains steadfast in this position. Angel's just baiting his attention. Even if he goes down, if ENX refused to bite, Hates is seemingly going to be fine to wait.
The attackers have to do something in this situation. It's no good knowing there's a player on those east stairs. You need to get in there and deal with him. Hates likely has a Grzmot mine to help him here as well. Not in pocket. Pino gonna find one onto Florio. Levels things up for the time being. The hard breach element of this attack has been removed, but Hates just gives himself up like that. Hello?
All right, I guess. Really?
Okay,
Or
just keep
really?
walking up east. Yeah. Just keep walking up
Okay,
east.
I mean... All right. All right.
East stairs, baby. That's my staircase right there.
The Battle of East Stairs 2025. Where were you? All right. That's... Nobody wanted to give up that position. That lion, he was not moving. Hates, he was not moving. Hates dies, NIP were like, no! They took it. They took our stairs. Timeout from NIP. Yes. I really
Content
can't
of the
get over it.
timeout. There are other portions of the map other than east stairs.
Well, actually, so something I wanted to talk about during it, but we were just so focused on East. I was like, please tell me he's going to throw this nade, right? Like, please tell me they got some kind of pinch lined up, like literally anything at this point. And there was literally nothing going on. He sprinted in before he used that util. But NIP had also seeded Armory. Like, Sexy Cake and the rest of the team were just like milling about Armory like the entire round. And when nobody was over there and there was one guy east, they're like, okay, I guess we can pinch this guy. And then all of NIP rotated up east stairs. So what was happening the rest of the round is, yeah, genuinely, they might be saying there are more positions than east stairs because there was basically nobody Armory except the guy that died first. And if they were there, they fell back super early.
Oh, you like east stairs? May I introduce you to West Balcony?
Dude, you're not going to believe this.
What?
You like east stairs? Dude, that stuff, that's made out of stone. We got metal stairs now.
Oh, we're going up in the world.
But budget surplus this past quarter. Got an upgrade.
Yeah. We saved our
That-
budget for Q4 so we could get metal stairs.
Yeah. That, we got some new voice lines for the siren.
Out of the way.
5 seconds left.
Okay.
Okay, it really seems like NIP might have... People really have separation anxiety, because now they're getting stuck on rotate holes.
Okay. A little outside Banshee. Don't mind if we do. So, NIP have taken the timeout. It's 5-5. They are not having any good luck making rotates, and all these rotates look incredibly sticky. However, it will be cleaned up, and hopefully don't cause them any problems later on. Look at box position. Okay, he's drawn for the hard breach gadget. I thought he was going to launch her in and just send it for a second, and I was getting a little bit worried. But as it stands, just quickly getting rid of a castle, getting himself out of the way. A great little bit of phantom pressure there.
Seems to be a similar setup from NIP, though. We had Hates, I believe, moving around break room, got the castle inside. So yeah, Sexy Cake will hop in. Gotta be careful. That player across from him doesn't take the fight, but yeah, the castle just isolated. Ooh! Hates really on for that trade. I thought ENX might have had a better handle on it, and I gave them faith I should not have. NIP were ready for this push, and we'll give credit to them. But Bach's been out here the whole round, and Florio is supposed to be watching flank somewhere. Did the guy east die? What happened? Hates was in 90. Or did they castle this time?
It doesn't look like it was castled.
Oh, it wasn't castled. They just let Hates. They let Hates start swimming. Yeah, we had nobody east.
So we've gone from a feast to a famine on east.
So actually, hold on. I gotta look at this. One right around the corner. Bach, he ratting. Oh, I love this from Hates. He's just sitting patiently. He doesn't have to peek. He's waiting. Bach maybe checks it. Yeah, he does. Nice. Oh, nice pre-fire. Angle conscious is Bog's era. It is a 2v2 now.
I mean, there wasn't really too much that could be done there. You were always dead. You couldn't really rotate out of that position, so I guess you kind of just got to trust that your team's going to win the 2v2. Quite a lot of time left here. 45 seconds. Still got a Selma left.
Or drones.
Drones to be flicked into and repositioned right now as well. And they've got the time to really thoroughly check under the tables, round the corners. There's going to be a mute jammer which will save the day a little bit, but one player at least going to be found out there in archives. 20 seconds and neither of these defenders are in great positions to trade one another, especially given that both attackers are coming through armory.
That's what I was thinking, actually. Khan's playing on this side. If he falls in the 1v1, no, Fancy finds him. Bach trying to find it. NIP end up being able to hold both angles. One watching through small office, one swinging around the corner. NIP close out the 2v2, and we can finally say, how are you going to rush CCTV and not have a guy watching flank east? You have, on 2 different clears of the top floor, you got to kill watching from east. Just a very, very basic step by ENX skip there.
ENX taking their time out now. I'll be honest, I felt like they'd already used it. But no, they still have it. Each team gets 1. And ENX are using theirs right here ahead of what could be the final round of this matchup. They need to win this round to take it to an overtime. And looking to maybe try and drag a little bit of momentum out of things because NIP have been doing pretty well over the past couple of rounds. It hasn't been swimming though. As you can see on the graphic up there on the screen, they won 4 rounds in a row, dropped 1, won 1, dropped 2, won 1. If you're a pattern guy, you'd say they were going to drop the next 3.
Uh-oh, that'd be bad.
But, oh, that would be bad for the program for them. It'd be great for ENX and any ENX fans out there.
They'd be enthused.
Attackers
ENX currently
and defuse bombs.
You have 2 wins in the stage after their game against Liquid yesterday, and also one against 9Z last
Bomb
week.
located by attackers.
Big win against NIP today, sitting at the top of the scoreboard. Maybe they won't be neck and neck in the standings at all, but NIP will certainly feel a little bit bummed about it as FaZe are nipping at their heels, and they're still trying to claw their way over Black Dragons and W7M. Both teams still yet to play today. Win for ENX as the race for 6th place. It's getting harder and harder as Furia pick up points. Loud getting that regulation win against FaZe yesterday. ENX starting to find themselves in a rough spot, and
5 seconds.
obviously can't get 3, but 2 would be very, very nice. So hopefully, if you do like your patterns, you're a numerologist perhaps, they win the next 3. It'll be a lot better for them going into the final week.
And NIP haven't been without their faults in the stage either. You know, there's a couple of overtime wins in there, so no stranger to an OT. It is expected, but it's definitely on the cards. And with the way we've seen this game go, it would not surprise me. ENX, though, they need to get a good handle on what they're going to try and achieve here, because so far we've seen them go halfway on some clears. We've seen them full clear in other ways where they've maybe not necessarily needed to. Belt and braces on the Claymores outside a break room door, and a slightly different lineup this time, it is fair to be said. They're bringing the Capitao and the Ying and a Deimos, so looking to get that information early on and see if they can guarantee that opening pick. It hasn't had a huge impact as to the game so far. It's not been like the team that gets the opening pick always wins the round, but it's definitely going to be something that's available when you've got someone like Fancy on the side of NIP who really will just throw himself at any early engagement he can.
Waiting for ENX to hit the go button. All outside the building, all on that teller side, opening up some barricades. I don't know if it's been so long, NIP might start getting wise to these tricks. Fancy's got an angle on that window. He can look at the hatch, though now with the Deathmark tracker watching that very player, he'll feel a bit worried about it. Candela's now go in. There's the follow-through. How are we pushing? What are we going to do? Are we clearing these roamers? Are we going to hop in? Nade goes around the corner, but it goes straight down the hatch. Alley-oop from the Deimos, but it doesn't result in literally anything. Now, it seems like they rotate up. Are they trying to clear this top floor? But Fancy just swings around, and there goes the Deimos. Nigel had info he was there, but Two different players now go down. Hates Feld, Wizard downed but not out. Fancy hopping out the window, gunning for his third! Smacks Bach out of the entire lobby. Has given the advantage. Z-Ping on the next. Ooh, misses that pre-fire. Might be kicking himself he missed that one, as it's now a 2v2.
Look how much time's left as well. 45 seconds. Wizard should really get picked up here. Look at how much it cost ENX to get Fantasy there. They used 3 Candelas, multiple nades.
Oh.
Pino with a great long kill onto Sexy Cake, showing that patience really does pay off as two veterans go at it against each other. But still a 2 versus 1. Pino in the same spot right now, and Flo making his way down these stairs.
One Candela goes in. Maybe try to bait some rotation, but nobody from NIP bites. 10 seconds remaining. He's got Diffuser. No C4 for Pino, but they can just play contact. They can play trades, or they can just sit on their hands. Don't even need to do anything. No points for ENX today. All 3 for NIP, who keep themselves in competition for the top 2 of SAL.